This is the Shapes and Breeds lecture for Computer Science 112 from the University of Idaho to credit. So today we're going to be talking about shapes and breeds. But before we get into that, we need to make sure that we've done the warm-up. So the warm-up, you made a wiggle code, and we're going to be utilizing this code throughout the lesson. So make sure you still have that available. If you accidentally closed it, or you didn't save it, or anything like that, go ahead and make sure you go and make that again. We're going to be continuing on, though. So what our wiggle code did is they made them move in a seemingly random direction. So they're able to kind of make a step, and every single step that they made, they kind of seemed veered around a little bit. And it kind of gives a better feeling of movement than a straight line or turning by the same amount every time. So we're going to get more creative by adding shapes and breeds in for our turtles. Shapes help us in identifying what types of turtles that we're working with. Up to this point, we've all had the small arrows. And while that's nice for initial coding, we want to be able to see these different shapes so that we can kind of identify what they are and what they're doing and how they work. NetLogo by default has several shapes already included in every program. And we'll go see what that looks like here in a second. We can also add in shapes from our shapes library. So it's there's an odd thing of there's always certain shapes that are included, and then there's the shapes library, which has more shapes that you can import in. And so this is kind of this like weird little situation that goes on. And then on top of that, let's say there's a shape that you just can't find, you can actually create your own shapes and NetLogo will use them. In this lecture, we're going to concentrate on using our own shapes, but you are welcome to create your own. So to find all of our shapes available in NetLogo, we can actually type a command in our command center. And this command is show shapes. And all of these different options will pop up. Let's go look at that real quick. So if I go to my IDE and I'm going to go here to my interface, I'm going to go down to here to observer. And in observer, I'm going to say show shapes and press the enter bar. And mine's a little small right now. I'll bring this up so you can see it. And we have default, airplane, arrow, box, bug, butterfly. You can see all of these different ones, and these are the ones that are already included in the NetLogo library for every single thing. So we have that, and that's wonderful and all. However, we want to be able to say, how do we use these? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our code, and we're going to use a command. And what we need to do is we need to use this command prior to creating any turtles. And this is specifically if you're going to have different types of turtles, or if you want all of your turtles to look differently, you should have your turtles set first, or your turtle shape set first. So the command here is set default shape. And then we say who we're setting the default shapes to. This will make more sense whenever we get to breeds. But we're going to set the default shape of turtles. So all turtles are going to have a specific shape whenever they're made after this point in time. We're going to set the default shape of turtles to be let's do butterfly. So if I run this, setup, and oops, need to change this to on ticks, and click go. Oops, forgot my tick in my code. Tick. All right. Setup, go. We can see that we have these beautiful little butterflies going around across our screen. That's awesome. Just what we were looking for. All right. Yeah, we just did that. So if we wanted to do something else, let's say use Apple, you could go and say, you can go and try and set default shape turtles to Apple, but that's going to result in what's called a runtime error. A runtime error is telling you something is not defined in the program. What's really interesting about this is whenever you do this inside of NetLogo, whenever you do it in the code, and actually I can show you guys this. So if I go into my code and I type in Apple, I can check it, and it's going to actually check out. It's not going to identify that there's an issue. If I go to my interface and click setup and then go, or if I just click setup actually, I'm going to get that runtime error. That runtime error being Apple is not a currently defined turtle shape, error while observer running set default shape. So it's telling you where in the code that this error happened, called by procedure, which says, hey, the procedure setup is where this existed. It was called by the button setup. And so you can identify all of these different aspects about where the error was occurring. So in order to actually make this work, what we need to do is we need to include the shape Apple into our program. In order to do that, we need to go into our turtle shape editor. And where we find that is we find that in, well, NetLogo. So let's go ahead and switch over to NetLogo. And so if I go up here to where I see tools, I'm going to find this thing that says Turtle Shapes Editor. I'm going to click on it. And we can see all of these different ones. And these actually are the same ones that were included in that list. So if we go here to import from library, you can actually scroll through an even longer list of all of the different potential answers that there are in here. I'm guessing this looks like this one's not showing up for you guys. Let's see if I can add it real quick. Yeah, now it's showing up for you guys. So you can see all of these different options that are available to you. And so if I want to include something, and so we're going to do Apple, I'm going to click on Apple, and then I'm going to click on this import button. So I import it. And now in our Turtle Shapes editor, we're going to see Apple. It's very interesting. That doesn't disappear whenever I tell it to. Cool. All right. So we have this thing called Apple. Awesome. We're done. So we can go ahead and close that. All right. So now if we do setup and we go, our apples go around our screen and we're able to see them. It's kind of cool. All right. Let's keep talking. All right. So we did that and we see that. Yes. So whenever we do the next thing, we're going to be creating what are called breeds. And breeds we can see a lot of in the wolf-sheep predation. We have the sheep breed and the wolf breeds. They behave differently. Wolves eat sheep, sheep don't eat sheep, and wolves don't eat wolves. And so they can have that type of relation. And you can set those relations up by using the idea of breeds. So breeds can be as widely diverse as, you know, wolf and sheep, or you could do different type of dogs, or you could do kind of any of those different ideas. What this does is just sets them apart from being turtles, because not all of these turtles are going to act the same. And so if you want more information, you can go into the programming guide and your help, go to the user manual, press programming guide, and look at breeds. We're just going to do it kind of on our own. Whenever we're creating breeds, we need to have each thing kind of separate. And what we're going to have is we're going to do breed, and then we're going to do the plural form, and then the singular form. Now, the plural form and singular form kind of combination is an interesting idea in that sometimes, like, some animals don't have a plural form that's different than the singular form, at least in the English language. In other languages, this could be different. But in the English language, we actually have several animals that have plural and singular being the same word. So a lot of times I just throw an S on the end. It's not grammatically correct, and it's not correct in the English language, but it works well. If there is a true plural form of the word, try and use that unless it's something that's absolutely ridiculous. So if we want to have different types of breeds, we can do cows and cow, which is like a cow. So we have that plural form, and then we have the singular form. And then we can do breeds of butterflies and butterfly. And so that's going to make the butterflies breed. And then what we can do is we can distinguish each shape by providing them their own default shape. And then we can have certain turtles do different things. So let's go ahead and make that happen. So in my code, I have my apples running. They've been running a while. I go to my code. And so I'm actually going to define these. And this happens prior to setup. We need to define these things prior to setup, much like global variables or turtle variables or patch variables or anything like that. So we're going to create a breed. Notice it turns it into green. Breed, and then we do our square bracket. And I say cows, because that's the plural form, and cow. Close it. And then we're going to do another breed. And we're going to do butterflies, because that's the plural, butterfly. Okay. Then, right here, we set default shape turtles to apples. So if we actually create this, and we actually go and create these cows and butterflies, it'll actually still make them as apples. We don't want that. So let's set the default shape Notice that this turtles is plural, so that means that we need to use plural. So cows to be cow. And then we want to set the default shape of butterflies to be butterfly. So even still, if we go and do this, we're not going to have any cows and butterflies show up. And the reason why is we haven't made any yet. So I'm going to actually get rid of this create 10, and I'm going to change it into create cows. Let's make 10, and then create butterflies. Let's make another 10. So if I go to my interface and I click setup, nothing's going to happen right now because I haven't given them any. Oh, actually, they actually will move, and we can see some butterflies and cows. Now they're all behaving the same, and that's because whenever we're in our code, we actually talk to all the turtles right here, not necessarily what we want. So what we can do instead, okay, so it's the right thing, is we can talk to specific breeds and have them doing different things. And so we can have the cows move forward 1 while the butterflies get to move 3. Butterflies, I guess in this case, being faster than a cow. So you can actually test that type of thing. So we ask the cows and we ask butterflies. Again, notice that we're talking in the plural. So your assignment for this, and we'll kind of fix this up a little bit, is we're going to have all of our turtles draw a line as we move. In our setup, we're going to have a turtle shape if you're not choosing. I'm going to stick with cows and butterflies, just keeps it kind of easy on me. And we're going to change the background, change the background of the whole thing based off of us clicking a button. We're going to add a button called clear screen that uses the clear screen procedure to clear the screen of all the lines that have been drawn. We're going to add add a button called turtles that adds more turtles procedures to add more turtles set by our slider. We can add a modifier code to include any procedures to make the code easier to read. That's a really big idea. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so I already have it set up and a go. I have the wiggle angle. Let's see here. Let's make a button called num turtles. See, or slider, sorry, slider. And this won't show up now. Let's see here. Okay. So here's our slider value. We're gonna call this num turtles. Sure, 0 to 100. Okay, so that's gonna make that. Let's make another slider. And we'll call this patch color. And this, let's see here. Actually, can't remember how far this goes. Let's look, tools. Color swatches shows us all of our different colors that we can have. And this is making fun stuff for you guys. Okay. So we got color swatches. We can see that it goes all the way up to, you guys can't see that though. We have color swatches. There we go. Which goes all the way from 0 to, looks like about 140 was where it wraps around. So we could choose 0 all the way up to 140. So let's go ahead and make that. So I'm going to close this. Hide. So I'm going to add my slider. And the slider is going to be called patch. Okay. After patch color, we're going to go ahead and add a couple buttons. So let's add a button. This button is going to call clear all, or no, clear drawing, sorry, not clear all, clear drawing, which is actually already a command, so we actually don't really have to code anything on top of that. If we click clear drawing right now, nothing's going to happen. That's what we want. I just realized that my button here didn't go far enough. I need to go to 140. And then I'm going to add another button. I'm going to use the thing more turtles. And I'm going to have it display as turtles. Doesn't know what that's for yet. And then I'm going to have the command be set background. Which set might not be the best word to use because that is a default thing. So if you forget a dash, it's going to pop up with an error. But display name, we're going to go with set background. Okay. It also doesn't know what to do with that one either. All right, so going to my code, I need to create a couple of things. So we're going to set a 2 more turtles. Actually, let's just keep this interesting. We're going to make it so that it goes and creates cows and butterflies. And what we could do is we could use num turtles divided by 2. Yeah, let's do that. Num turtles divided by 2. And end. And so this would actually create these turtles automatically. We're going to make half of them. So if it's not numbered, it's actually not going to work out. But it's not going to give us exactly that amount, but it's counting, right? All right, so we have more turtles. And now let's create our background to set dash background. We're going to ask the patches to set p color to be patch color. That's that slider that we made. And then end. So if I go check this, go to my interface setup, have them start going. Oops, I need them to start drawing. Let's see here. We could ask them here. So if we do ask turtles, it tells all of them to. You could individually do this for each, like the create cows and the create butterflies. We're talking to all the turtles to put their pen down, so I'm going to ask all the turtles to do it. Set up and go. All right, so they're drawing. Cool, awesome. You can see their paths that they're taking. If I click clear drawing, it clears everything that they have. If I click turtles, it makes more of them. And I want to set the patch color. Let's see here. I have to go remember color swatches. Let's go with 67. Okay, something's not right. Set background. Oh, there we go. I just had it highlighted. Yeah, so you have to click off that because it was showing this. You need to be clicked off it whenever you're doing that. And that's showing for you guys. Okay, cool. All right, and clear drawing. We can see that they start drawing a little. All right, make sure you go through, put in your comments. Have a good one.